Alright, this video will be about showing you how to use Doctopus and Goobric, which are two things with very silly names, but things that can be actually very cool and helpful when you're grading documents in your classroom. So you have to have a few things set up first before you actually start using Doctopus and Goobric. So one, you obviously have to have a classroom set up with an assignment that kids have submitted things to. And then you have to have a rubric set up within Google Sheets. So this is my rubric that I made for this fake assignment that I made. And a few things about the formatting of the rubric are important. This A1 cell has to be blank. And then your grading scores have to start in the first row here, starting from B1 on. And then the content areas that you're actually grading on have to start in the first column, so starting with A2. Then you actually have to make sure that you have Goobric and Doctopus installed on your Chrome, which is really easy to do. If you go up to Add-ons, you go to Doctopus, and then you're going to select Launch. And it will come up with a pretty screen eventually to the right. Okay, so this is going to take you through how you choose what assignment you're going to Doctopus. So we're going to ingest a Google Classroom assignment. Select class, and then select assignment. So then after it does this, it will make this magical spreadsheet that has everyone who's turned in their assignments so far. And then it will come up with this octopus image on the right. So now you want to actually make sure that your grading rubric is attached. So up here is where the Goobric part comes in. So you're going to go to Attach Goobric. And then select your rubric. And then it'll bring up all the things that you have in your spreadsheets, in your Google Sheets. And then attach Goobric to this assignment. Presto, because that was so fast. So it'll explain to you a little bit about how to do it once it's actually attached. But the important part that it's explaining here, I'm going to exit out of it, and show you up here is that there will be this little eyeball. When that eyeball is up there, that means that your Goobric, Doctopus magic is actually going to happen. So if you don't see the eyeball, then something is wrong. But so we'll go down here and we see that Bob and Jill have kindly submitted assignments for me. So let's look to Bob's. So if you click on the link, it should just open up their assignment. So their assignment was to talk about how awesome Google Classroom is and write a couple things and include at least one image. So you can see that Bob is really excited about Google Classroom. So once you have the document up, then you're going to click on that eyeball And here's your rubric up here. And there's the assignment. So the first one that I had put down was basically the grammar, punctuation. It does look like Bob has decent grammar, but the capitalization is kind of lacking. So I'm going to give him a 1. And then I'll go to the next one. How sincere is he? I think Bob is pretty sincere. I think that he probably stays up nights thinking about it, so I'm going to give him a 2. He included a pretty awesome image, so I'm going to give him a 2 on both of those things. And then you can also include a comment to Bob. So I'm just going to say, thanks, Bob. And then submit. But before I submit, you can see it also says you can check if you want to have this emailed to Bob to let him know that it's graded. And you can, this is up to you if you want students to be able to submit, or sorry, comment when they look at it. So I'm just going to keep those checked and press submit. Okay, so then you can see down here that when Bob opens this document up again, it's actually been pasted right into his document. So it'll have highlighted what I've given him and my comments on the bottom. So this is truly paperless. The rubric goes right onto their original document. So I'm going to get out of that for a second. Oh, actually, one kind of neat thing, actually. I won't go through this again with Jill's, but you'll see here where you've submitted it. So once you see that it's been pasted onto Bob's paper, then that's all good. And you can just click on Next, and it'll take you to the next assignment. So this is Jill's. Okay, so you can keep doing that and just go through all of your kids. I'm going to exit out of all this and go back to my Google Sheets where I had this Doctopus Goobric thing set up. And you'll see down here, I had to change my video to make sure you got this, but it'll say rubric scores, and they're all the ones that you've scored. So it's kind of nice, it keeps everything all in one spot, and I just think it's pretty cool. So this is obviously for assignments that are documents that have rubrics, but there's also another tool called Flubaroo, which is for assignments that you put in that are maybe multiple choice, and those can actually be graded super easily using Flubaroo. But that's Doctopus. If you have any questions, just come down to the library and feel free to ask me anytime. Thanks.